go to sleep, I go far away. If you forgot your dreams, just remember to love. It's important to remember your dreams.
It was all a dream.
And I woke up.
Yeah. Yo, what up? Yo. Am I? Yo, what up? Yo, I got one more video on me today, man. I've been, I guess, you know, the spirit is in. The spirit is within me today, guys. So I got one more video. This is going to be real short. AquaStoneThrone, like, share, and subscribe. This video is going to be about wavelengths, right? So I was just about to literally take my last video and upload it onto my computer, and then more frequency and more knowledge and more wisdom came to me. So I was just like, yo, let me turn on the camera for another 2 minutes. I'm going to try to make this very, very short. And I want to really, really touch topic on waves, okay? Waves. Just waves, okay? Hi, y'all. AquaStoneThrone, Andrew, I'm waving at you, right? So basically, this is going to be a little tiny breakdown of waves and the reality and just the way I perceive waves and the way that you could maybe understand yourself, life, thoughts, and just have a clearer understanding, okay? So what is a wave, right? Other than this, other than moons, right? So one thing that's clearly understood, right, is that like Christ, right? If you look at all the symbolism towards Christ, he's always, it's always the sun, right? It's never the moon, right? And so I want to really expand on this, right? So what does the moon do, right? So the moon has a 13 cycle every single year, right? So the moon does its thing 13 times every single year. And this is why ancient locations in certain parts of the world, in certain cultures, adhere to a lunar calendar, because it's more syncopated to the reality, and that's the truth, right? And so what does the moon represent? So the moon actually represents the left eye, right? Or it depends on you, but I see nowadays with a lot of spiritual teachings it shows the left eye, but I also see when I do a lot of information and a lot of work from ancient knowledge that it actually is the right eye. And so let's get into the moon, right? The moon affects all water, right? All water. And if you really on the journey of self-improvement and if you're on the journey of looking within, you'll notice that you might actually find a lot more peace at new moons. And you'll also notice that there just seems to be a lot more energy and static and maybe confusion and craziness going on towards full moons, right? So they say like, full moons make people go crazy and things like that, right? And so my father, he's already out of here, he expired, but one thing which was very fascinating is that when I would go see him in his old folks home, he had severe dementia, and around full moons everyone in the old folks home got out of control. And so it's very important to understand that the full moon and the moon just in general has massive effects on this entire plane of existence. You see it in the water. I live right next to the Hudson River, and sometimes the water is crazy low, right? Sometimes it's crazy high. This has to do with the moon. The moon is controlling all world water in this dimension. And the reason why people get out of control on full moon cycles is because a healthy human body is 70 to 80% water. When a child comes out of its mom's embryo, he's literally basically 80-90% water. It's just a little water package, a brand new baby. Also, what is the mom's womb? It's a water right? And it's a water containment. The womb is full of water. The baby is breathing through its midsection, the midpoint, the halfway point between the negative and positive, or the male and feminine that created the vessel, right? Because in the beginning, he had created he, she, and they and them, right? So you really got to understand these things. And so back to the moon and the vessel, right? So there's one thing that is very fascinating, is that when a child is born in many cultures, if a child comes out completely in its mom's bag and the bag doesn't burst, that means that this child is very supreme and it has very strong spiritual principles, because he's coming literally from one earth into another earth, but that earth did not blow up to get into this earth. It's very fascinating. There's a lot of ancient cultures that talk about how godly and how amazing that is if you have a child that is still brought into this world in a full bag, in the full placenta, which I mean, right? So let's get into the psychology of the moon, right? And waves, because this is it's not about the moon, but it's about waves, right? So everything has a wave. Your life cycle has a wave. It has there's an ancient sayings that like what is on four legs goes to 2 legs and then goes to 3 legs. It's an ancient Egyptian saying where basically when you're a baby, you crawl and you're on all 4s, then you become more mature, you go to 2 legs, and then when you get older, you need a cane. So it's basically giving you knowledge and wisdom of yourself, but you got to do the knowledge and work to understand who you are. And what I could say about waves is that there's a reason why we say we're waving to each other, right? Because everything is energy. There's a giving and receiving of energy. And so also in regards to waves, there's something called the Alpha and Omega, right? In the Bible that speaks about there being 2 poles, right? Because everything in this reality has 2 poles. In order for everything to be vibrating at a particular frequency, we think that this is hard, but it's actually vibrating at such a rapid frequency, you think it's hard. And so this is very important to understand. I'm sorry, I'm a little clogged up right now. But I want to get into waves, and the visible wave spectrum that we see this reality in, which is RGB for a digital thing, but we see 7 colors in the spectrum, and everything in this spectrum comes from those 7 divine colors, right? 7 planets, 7 seas, 7 main planets, 7 holes in the kingdom, and so on, right? So every single different color and variation comes from those 7 colors. Now, the reason why police use red and blue, or Republicans use red and blue, is to create confusion in the mind. So when a cop pulls you over, there, it's just rapidly flashing red and blue. This does something to your subconscious mind if you're not fully awakened. And so it's literally going from back poles, and it's not allowing your mind to get to a state of balance, which is green, right? So if you look at the visual spectrum, green is exactly dead in the middle. If you look at all of Mother Nature, all of her plants are what color? So you really got to understand these things. And then when you look at particular flowers, and certain flowers are red, there's reasons for these things. God is not the author of confusion. Maybe the red rose has a particular resonant frequency which is closer to the red color, right? So we'll look at this, right? Check this out, right? Because like I said, all is mind. All really is mind. And you got to vibrate and really elevate your level of thought and consciousness through meditation, sun gazing, and cleaning out the body, cleaning out the vessel. Because when you clean out the vessel and you clean out the body, other dormant senses get activated when you start starving your lower kingdom. You'll never see anyone in this reality that can live without a gut. You could live without arms, you could live without legs, you could live without a vagina or a penis. You can't live without a gut. This is the lower kingdom. Okay, so let's look at a wave, right? A wave like that, right? That's a wave. In music, there's always a duality, right? Or just everything in this world is a duality, right? There's you can see there's the mountains, the valleys, and the peaks, right? So we could look at this as light and dark and so on and so on. But you always want to get to that base point, that you either want to be up here resonating crazy high. You don't ever want to be resonating very low. You definitely don't want to be resonating very low in this reality, because you'll just be taken advantage of and not have no knowledge and no wisdom. You either want to be at a base mode where you're completely in tune with everything and have a calmness and a stillness of the mind, or you want to be very high and extremely creative. Down here is being like a cashier at Chase Bank. You're just doing somebody else's bullshit. You're not really creative. You're just playing a position in the reality. So, with this being said, I own a coffee shop, right? Even in the coffee shop, there are waves. There are particular times of the day where one person comes in, 20 seconds later, another person comes in, 20 seconds after that, another 5 people come in. Then it's slow again for another hour, and then it picks up again. So when you really start seeing, this is why it's very important to meditate, because when you meditate, you're able to see things for what they truly and really are, okay? So I want to get back into another visual representation, right? A very, very fast wavelength, right? A very, very fast wavelength is like a snare in music, how it's hits real quick, right? But very, very fast is high octave and high energy. A snare is like it's very quick, very precise. Something very slow like that might be more of a bass kick drum. You know what I'm saying? And so this is a visual representation, because like I said, these type of things need to be truly understood. I'm not getting too much into the whole science of wavelengths. Now, I can get very much into the science of wavelengths, but the moral of the story is that I'm showing you things from a visual perspective. That way you can have a very much of a better understanding, because when you start connecting to the sun, the moon doesn't affect you anymore. You're not allowing your lowest state of consciousness, which is just being an emotional girl. This is a feminine dimension. It's Mother Earth. In ancient Egyptian times, it was her sky. This is why you got to connect with the Father, who is beyond time and space. You understand? So there are different levels, right? When you understand the Bible, there are levels beyond levels of information, right? So they don't say heaven is below you, right? You got to understand these things. So that's basically what else do I want to say on waves? Basically, everything's a wave. When you really start when you really start, where am I going with this? Waves. I think I kind of said enough on waves. I'm having a brain fart right now. Flow state is been disabled. The Creator cut the string. There's no more divine connection. I have no more knowledge and wisdom to share with you on waves. No, I'm just kidding. But that's just a little something on waves, because you gotta stay wavy in this bitch. AquaStoneThrone, like, share, and subscribe.